We're going to talk to some friends whom you've seen on the show before, and we also have here Dan Wootton, who's Dan is really here in place of a Scottish friend of ours who was on your show and who can't be with us tonight because he's actually been stricken by COVID. He's doubly cursed. He was wrecked by the vaccines and he got COVID anyway, Dan.
Yes, poor Alex Mitchell, who obviously lost his leg as a direct result of his injuries from the AstraZeneca jab. And I think all of the people in this room, Mark, are extraordinary. They have been through some of the worst months that anyone could imagine. They've lost relatives, they've lost body parts, they've lost the use of their body. But the most disgraceful thing for me, and the thing that I think is unforgivable, is they have been ignored by the political establishment, but most crucially for me, by our colleagues, Mark, journalists and broadcasters who have thought this is an inconvenient part of the narrative and simply have ignored the people in this room. And I just think all of them are so brave because they've had to put up with being dismissed in so many ways by their loved ones, by their MPs, apart from one honourable exception who I know you'll get to later, and by the media. So thank you to you, Mark, because you in the UK have put this issue on such a pedestal, and it deserves to be there because this is a national scandal.
Why do you think that was, though, Dan? Was it just because it was presented to us as a fairy tale? Oh, this killer virus is on the loose, but we have the best brains in the world, and they are going to invent something that will make it go away. I mean, that's an obviously ludicrous narrative to buy into, and yet most of the media did.
Well, there was one narrative, wasn't there? And the narrative was, we have this great vaccine rollout, and that's the only way to open up the country. Now, personally, I don't think we ever needed a great vaccine rollout to open up the country. The country should never have been shut down. But that is the narrative that the media got into. Some of our biggest newspapers in the country actually started to actively campaign for the government to jab the entire country. And so what that means is they don't want to look at these facts. They don't want to look at these victims in the room because it doesn't fit the narrative that they have helped the government to push. And by the way, that's not to say that there may have been benefits for some people for having the vaccine. And you can have that conversation, but the problem is they don't want to have that conversation, as you know, because they're still campaigning, even now, the BBC, still campaigning for young folk to be jabbed.